Hey, Bentley, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
I've never been better. How are you?
I've never been better either. I'm feeling great.
I'm Jamie, the founder, CEO of Major.
And I'm Jacob. I'm the head of business development and artist relations at Major.
Bentley, who are you?
I'm Bentley. I'm the CEO and founder of Major.
Nice.
Welcome.
Good.
Take it. Take it.
Oh my God.
I've
No,
done an afternoon of meetings for you.
Perfect. Send my pay and I promise to show up to work.
Oh, we have something to say about that.
Oh, there's a catch.
No, I'm Bentley Robles, main pop boy.
You are the CEO of your career. You've been running around a bunch. So thank you for taking time today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
You join us from New York.
Brooklyn, baby.
We have a lot we want to cover today, both around your art, the song story that you're doing with us, the release that's coming out in July, what you've been up to. But maybe just start with a little bit about yourself and how you got started as an artist.
Yeah. I have been making music from early adolescence on. I had Mixcraft on my Windows computer and I would just download loops or presets and produce little pop hits to that. And I did that for a good amount of time when I was like in my teens, young 20s, but simultaneously was really in love with musical theater. So I moved to New York to do Broadway. And singer-songwriter, indie artist kind of called my name because I just felt like I had a lot I wanted to say. And I got really lucky because I kind of was like, I just bought a MIDI keyboard and a DAW, and I was just going to start creating stuff with very little music theory knowledge other than what I learned in choir. And I obviously knew notes and chords, but I wasn't someone that could play an orchestra, you know? So it was like, to me, I got really lucky having a natural knack for writing and top lining. And then it kind of just took over my whole life. I dropped and released like my first ever like song as Bentley Robles in 2019. And didn't really didn't really have people start to listen until 2020. And since then, I've been really fortunate to like kind of find a little fan base of people that like love what I'm doing and like are keeping me motivated to keep making more music.
What's Mixcraft?
Mixcraft is like a DAW, like an old school DAW that like
On
re
Microsoft? Like,
I also
Windows?
I was like Windows.
it was on Windows. Yeah, it was like on like I had like one of those like old school HP computers. And I remember like going to Best Buy with my parents and buying Mixcraft for $29. And essentially, yeah, it's just a DAW. And I obviously couldn't make beats that well. So I would use like presets from the DAW, or I would download beats from other places and I would write my own songs. Or I would do what every baby producer does, which I would download instrumentals of big songs and rewrite
Sure.
new songs.
I mean, Steel, right? Yeah. You have
Yeah,
to.
exactly.
Are your parents largely like supportive, or were they largely supportive and understanding of what you were doing? Or did they just kind of think it was like soccer or like just another, hobby?
It's funny you say soccer because I'm Mexican. My parents are both immigrants. I'm first generation American, and like soccer is like their whole life. My dad played professional soccer.
No way.
Yeah, so he was very, very obsessed with me being good at sports, and I wasn't. I was the polar opposite. So my parents definitely had immigrant mentality with me. It was like, you're going to be a lawyer or you're going to be a doctor. Music is just a hobby. And I remember like kind of all through high school and even when I was doing musical theater after high school, my parents would always kind of be a little shady. They'd be like, amazing show tonight. Don't forget, this is not your career.
Sure. Right.
So they weren't supportive. They are now. I recently went to LA and wrote a whole bunch of songs and like stopped by my parents' house. This was back in April. And my dad sat down with me at the couch and he was like, okay, what are your plans for this? And I was just like, XYZ. And he just was like, I have a feeling that this isn't going to be something just that you make like good money from. This is going to be something that makes you very, very rich one day. And I was like, that's okay. So he's on board now.
Yeah, he got there. He got there.
He also came to my show that I played in April. The top of the tour was the first time my dad ever saw me perform. So that was really
No
cool.
way.
Yeah, I mean, he'd only seen me do, theater or other
Right.
people's songs. He hadn't seen anything from my artist project. So it was really cool.
One of the questions I always ask artists, and you kind of answered this already, is whether you grew up in an artistic household or with artistic influences when you were younger, even if it wasn't necessarily your parent.
So I really feel like, and I'm sure like a lot of queer people will connect to this, is like I didn't grow up in a musical household, but music was my escape. You know, like I think that like being a little gay boy growing up, like putting on my, little disc player and headphones and listening to these pop girls sing about things, I would just go in my own little world with my music. And
Mm.
to this day, I don't watch TV. I don't really play video games. I only listen to music. I have my headphones in at home, or I'm playing music over my like YouTube music. Music is like my world. And I have no problem commuting 4 hours. I
Sure.
love listening to music. So even though my household wasn't particularly music oriented, music like honestly saved my life. Like truly, not to be super dramatic, but that's the reason I'm here.
Yeah. I mean, certainly there is an element of music that when you are wrestling with anything, whether it's a breakup or something more fundamental, it's like a special key that can reach inside. And certainly being queer, you got to remember watching Madonna, and God bless her in the hospital. But you're like, there's something here that's fundamental and speaks to me. And it sounds like for you, that was very true.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like it gives you, I don't know, just a sense of being seen. I mean, we've all felt it, like hearing a lyric that just hits you and then you're like, "Oh, wow, like, I feel like this, and, like, I didn't know
Mhm.
how to put this into words," you know? I really, like I'm really grateful to have music for that, to just, like, go into a little world where I am the main character walking through whatever I want in that moment.
What was the first time that you decided, even if it was just to yourself, like you're gonna step on the other side of the microphone, so to speak?
I mean, so I have, like I don't remember this, but my mom has cassette tapes of me recording and singing my own songs when I was 7.
Oh, like a
'Cause
little
my
tape player?
Yeah, I would do that,
Yeah.
where you record on one side and I would sing.
Yeah.
My sister was born in '97 or 98 or something like that, and apparently I was this 5-year-old kid just in songs about my sister and recording them. I had a song called Baby Brianna, and so I don't remember
Can we get
any
that
of
on major? We'd like
I
to get.
I need to get it. I need to get
Yeah.
it. My dad at the time, I mean, it's actually a long story. I'm not even gonna get into it, but my artist project was Ray Robles at the time, and it was a random pseudo. It was so funny. It was hilarious that I had a little artist project as a kid. But
And we
I
actually have all those songs for Ray Robles right now. Listen,
I'm about to come out.
like a
Oh my
Nardwuar interview.
god. I have this little green nano iPod. So when I was in high school, I would produce on Mixcraft, but I was one of those people that would produce songs for my mom, my sister, the neighbor next door. I'd have them come over and I wrote a song for my sister called Speakers, parentheses, Shoot It. And it was just like, from my speakers, shoot it, shoot. I don't know what it was, but it was really bad. But my little 9-year-old sister is like and I'm like, take again, another take. I have a little green iPod Nano with all the songs I released under like all these little 17, 16, 15-year-old project I did that I would put on MySpace Music. And some of those songs to this day, I'm like, they're bangers. I need to rewrite these.
Amazing.
I think every older, younger sibling relationship I know is like some form of like an abusive, toxic director. Like
For sure.
either for like fashion, music, like skits, plays.
Again.
Yeah, it's like
Do another
all
take.
nights there.
More vibrato. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask about your creative process, but it sounds like it was worked out with your siblings.
Yeah.
My creative process is like, so I'm trying to get better at, how they say it should be a muscle, like it shouldn't be when inspiration strikes. So I'm really trying to get better at any time something inspires me, whether it's something someone said or something that I just felt or graffiti. I write it into my notes and I start to create a world. I'm a huge titles guy or concepts guy. Like
Mm.
one of my big songs that got me a whole bunch of people listening is my song I Hate the Weekend. And I had that line, I hate the weekend. And then it turned into I hate the weekend because my man, he got too many friends. And then it turned into this whole world about this insecure person that, feels comfortable during the week when their boyfriend's with them. But then on the weekends, it's just like, what is he doing? So I really like to take on these roles. And that's kind of how I go into a song usually or a session. Lately, I've just been writing everything down. Like recently, one of my friends said, oh, why do good things happen to bad people? And I just thought that was so freaking genius. And I wrote it down. And that's definitely a song that I'm going to write at some point. And then I'm like, okay, going into a world, like, what is this going to be about? Okay, this is going to be about my ex moving on and he's thriving and I'm failing. And I create a world and then I show up to the session and I'm ready.
I'm ready. What would you say, like, percentage wise, the things that you write about were experiences in your life or things that are maybe tangential or, more fictional?
I want to say a huge percentage of what I write about is fictional.
That's
Like,
really cool.
I'm a true like fantasist,
Fancy
like
stuff.
super emotional. Like I love fantasy and drama. And so I'll write songs that have a sense of like, there's a word I'm looking for. I'm not going to get it in time, but it's like a sense of like magic or something about them that is like so much bigger than me. So I
Right.
feel like my experience could be like, oh, I'm going to channel when my ex broke up with me, but then I'm going to turn it into this like huge, like
Right.
my ex was like out to get me and everyone turned against me. And so I do feel like that's like a lot of my writing now is like this big fantastical is the word I was looking for.
Fantastic.
Sense of like, oh, you know?
Yeah, I mean, just because something didn't happen to you doesn't make it any less true, you
Yeah.
know? And that's the beautiful part about writing music is you get to play whatever character you want. And it's gonna
Yes.
like there's as much validity in a myth as there is in a textbook.
100%. And that happened to someone, you know? Also,
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I have a friend that told me, oh, I love writing songs because I can be anyone I want to be for 3 minutes and
Yeah.
30 seconds. And I'm like, yeah, I love that.
How different is Bentley Robles, the musician, than, the person that goes to Trader Joe's?
First of all, I love that you said Robles. Amazing. Thank you so much for that. I'm so gagged.
I can listen.
Every,
I
but
we said it.
so many people say Robles or they'll try to say Robles and then they'll say Robles or like,
I'll be honest, I said Robles until I heard you say Robles.
I always tell people it's like row your boat and God bless. Robles. Um, I literally, oh yeah. So Bentley Robles is like, I think it's like so cliche, but essentially like, actually, no, he's actually a lot like me. That sounds weird saying he. My artist project is just genuinely an unapologetic
Sure.
crybaby drama queen, like powerful force where like I'm just a crybaby drama queen, maybe a tiny bit more subdued.
Slightly regulated.
Exactly. Like, I haven't really said too much about it. I mean, I guess I can say it on this because that's what makes this so exclusive and cool for our fans.
Ooh.
But like, I Hope You Cry, or I might be answering a question for later. Anyway,
No, let's go for it.
Hope You Cry is the lead single off of an EP that I'm putting out in November called Ugly
Amazing.
Crier. And I'm so excited for Ugly Crier to come out because it's like, all the songs on it are written, which is like so rare for me. I usually like write a song and then I'm like, get it mixed. I want to put it out. You know what I mean? So it's like also planned. But for a long time, I've really wanted to find like a little community for me and my fans
Mm.
because we're all so similar. Like, they connect with me because they're Latino, or they connect with me because they're queer, or they connect with me because they're like an emotional like outcast, or they connect with me for all three reasons. And so
Sure.
like it's like really cool to have this world that we've created because I've decided like we're all the ugly criers and like that's who we are. We let it out, we cry it out. And that's I feel like a great descriptor of like who Bentley Robles is as an artist. He's, he unapologetically feels and he's like part of a community of people that maybe felt excluded or, you know, not normal. And we're the ugly criers, baby.
Oh, one question I have is when we met, it was very clear that you have a vision for yourself and your art, and you're working very, very hard to bring that to life. And so I'm curious, who inspires you? Like, when you think about the type of artist that you want to grow into and where you're headed?
First of all, thank you for such a sweet affirmation. I really appreciate that. I'm inspired by, I hate to say it, women. Like I love women, main pop girls. I really want to get a shirt made that says, I only listen to main pop girls and Bentley Robles. That's like
Mhm.
really what I But I think again, going back to, being like 13, 14, like in the closet, like not having queer people in media, that weren't just like the fun caricature of like, girl, you're gonna wear that dress. You know what I mean? Like like there wasn't layers to us. And having women, pop girls, they really, made me feel like seen, and I could see parts of myself in them. So I'm really inspired by pop music of all sorts. And like I'm not picky. I'm not one of those people that's like, yeah, I only listen to the Beatles and Nirvana. Like, no, like I love Dua Lipa. Like I love Robin is like one of my huge inspirations. I think like bar none, like, having her own label and having her own sense of music and image. She's someone that like commercially isn't like she doesn't care about how she looks or what she dresses in. And like I feel like she's also such a unapologetic writer when it comes to love and sex and connection. So she's been a huge inspiration. I have a tattoo of her. I love her. But pretty much any pop girl, that has really fought, especially now that like ageism is such a huge thing, that like seeing some of these synth pop girlies like Tove Lo recently, or Tuve Lu,
Yeah.
has really been fucking just killing it. I'm sorry if I'm not allowed to cuss. Has
You can guys.
Okay, she's been fucking killing it. Everything she does is so cunt. I literally am gagged by her. She is, a 30-something-year-old woman putting out these songs. I don't know. Pop music gets such a bad rap, and I hate it because everybody, like, I went to go see Aqua in concert recently, and, the vibe in there was like incredible, and the music and these like synth like bass beats, and it was like so fierce. And it was like, I feel like people, you know, they stray away from being true pop heads because it's not seen as cool as like any other genre. And I feel like pop needs to have a resurgence. I want to see pop at the top of the charts again. I want to see iconic performances. There's a reason nobody's watching music awards shows anymore. It's because like it's not as cool or gaggy as it used to be. I don't know. I feel like I totally lost the question, girls. But pop music inspires me. Anybody pushing the envelope. Lady Gaga, obviously, anyone like that.
These are our mothers.
Yeah. Mother, exactly.
Let me ask you really quickly, the track that is landing on major is called Hope You Cry. And you've talked about kind of your tribe as ugly criers. I mean, this is kind of a cliche question, but I'm just curious, like, is your view of the role that kind of like pain and suffering plays in creating great music? Like, do you have to be tortured to create something awesome?
I don't want to just say yes because I feel like it'll discredit people that maybe haven't gone through something, but I'll say this. I went to a session recently. I started working with this amazing producer, Dominic Florio, who I've wanted to work with forever. And we have 2 songs on the EP together. And he's cutthroat. He doesn't just work with anyone. And I went in and he was like, "Do you feel like you're writing the best songs of your life right now?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's just like, "Why?" And we went on a whole conversation about it, and it was really inspiring. But later I went back to another session with him and I was like, I really thought about what you said to me. And I am writing the best songs of my life right now because I'm fully formed. Like I've been through trauma and heartbreak, and I've gone to therapy, and I've lost. And I feel like all those things kind of give you your POV. They like really create who you are. And that is what music is. And I'm sure you both will relate to it. It's like, to write a good song, you need to have a point of view. And I really believe that like when you haven't experienced life, and I'm not saying you can't be like naive and write a hit, but like you don't have a point of view yet. Like you don't know like who you are yet. And I feel like maybe less about being tortured and more about being fully formed as a being, I think helps you create better art.
I'll challenge slightly.
Challenge me, baby.
I think that there's something beautiful about ignorance that can give you the confidence to talk about something that maybe you don't fully understand, that can bring a new perspective to it. And I'm not saying anything that I disagree with anything that you said, but I think we need 16-year-olds writing pop hits and we need 56-year-olds writing pop hits, because the way that they're both going to look at a breakup is going to be so different, and like,
Totally.
and also probably so similar. Like, I don't know if you've ever like had grandparents start dating again. But like this was like a new thing that happened for me in the past like 5 years.
Sure.
But
Oh my
it's like
God.
high school all over again.
Mhm.
Like you're talking to like a 16, like when my grandmother talks about her boyfriend, it's like you're talking to a 16-year-old.
I love that.
Fucking crazy.
I totally agree. And I feel like that, like, there's not an objective take. I more so feel like I'll challenge back with this
Yeah.
sense. It's like, I'm not saying that you can't write an amazing pop song at 16, but some of
yeah.
the songs that I've written, I couldn't have written at 16. And I'll
Yeah.
say that. Like,
Hell,
I wouldn't have had the idea, the point of view, the connection to my emotions. But who's to say I wouldn't have written a number one before all that? Like, you don't know. So I
don't know.
agree totally. I feel like it's just, that's what makes art so incredible is like two of us. That's why I love collaboration, because like two of us in a room can write something totally different than would have happened singular, like,